What's going on, everyone? Tim Williams here. Baseball is officially over, and we are going to jump into football right now. If you've watched my videos in the past or you are a subscriber, welcome. Thank you for coming back. We had an awesome time breaking down all those baseball slates. It was super fun, but it is now time to move over into the NFL space. If you're new to the channel, welcome. What's going on? My name is Tim, and what I like to do here is break down some of these main slates here, and this will be my first time kind of breaking down and going through a Monday night football showdown or an NFL showdown in general. So subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. It helps me out a ton. I'm gonna be breaking down NFL Sunday slates as well, so make sure you don't miss out on any of that free content. And what we like to do here is we like to put up these slides and kind of go through each in every game, or in this case, each main player here to talk about. So yeah, let's get started. I'm pretty pumped. So we have the Raiders taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. What we do know about this game so far, it is a 51.5 over under spread on a lot of these Vegas lines here. Chargers are favored by 3. I've seen some places at like 4.5. So last time I checked earlier this morning, it is 3. So these two teams like to keep it close. They like to air the ball. We do know that. So we're going to go ahead and start with the away team here. We're going to go with the Raiders. Derek Carr, quarterback option, right? 10.8K. I think that's an okay price. It's kind of high, right? Having a hell of a year right now. Averaging 45 throws per game. Very impressive year he's had so far. He's had some, not the easiest matchups, but certainly not the hardest matchups. So this will be a true test for him tonight. Last 3 games here, when we're going to look at air yards for Derek Carr, 537, 311, and 396 air yards there. So really likes to throw the ball. He likes to spread the ball out to a lot of his receivers, which we will get to. 7.67 deep attempts average per game, 11 last week. So Carr likes to air it out. So we do love to see that. There's a couple wide receivers that he could potentially target downfield as well as Darren Waller, but that's what we like to see. 7.67 deep attempts on average. So he likes to air the ball out. I think that has a nice upside to it. He's leading the league in pass yards right now, 1,139. I don't expect him to lead the NFL in pass yards this year, but that's a good sign. He's having a nice bounce back year. Carr, obviously, he's going to be in play. I think the approach I'm going to take in tonight's game here, and I'm going to make a bunch of lineups here because I want some that kind of favors the Raiders side. I want some that favors the Chargers. But I don't think I'm going to want to play Carr and Herbert together. So I think Carr is very much in play. I wouldn't captain him. It just kind of handicaps your lineup a little bit, and he doesn't really have the rushing upside either. So very nice stats so far on Carr. We like to know he airs it out. And then we'll go right to Waller here at 9.2K. Easily Carr's favorite receiver to target here. His last 3 games as far as targets go, 19 in that first game and then 7 and 7. So it really kind of leveled out there. 28.63% average target share per game. So he's getting a lot, or the majority of the targets. No one's safe, right? But he definitely gets the most looks on this team. He's averaging 87.5% of snap time. So he's out there all the time. So far, we haven't really seen any red zone targets this year. The Raiders are a team that like to kind of run it up the middle too. They have a decent ground game. No true bell cow, right? With Jacobs kind of hurt, he might be back, so we'll get into that. But I feel that Waller would be my favorite target as far as any tight end or receivers on the Raiders side. So very much in play. Definitely a strong captain option for sure. Chargers D have been playing very well, right? I think they're a little bit weaker in the run game, so Waller could get double teamed. We could see some of that, but yeah, Waller a strong play here. And then let's break down these wide receivers a little bit for Oakland. Renfro, Ruggs, and Edwards here, kind of priced about similar, which is actually kind of nice. The thing is, it's there's no true lead receiver here. We'll start with Renfro. He's clearly the WR3. 5.8K. I think that's a fair price. I think he is, somewhat popular, leads receivers in target share on this team so far as wide receivers go, 17.89% there, 51% of his snaps so far on the season. So he's been on the field probably the least out of these three wide receivers. He's definitely had some red zone looks. So he's kind of a check down guy, short passes here, anywhere from like 1 to 10 yards, right? So he kind of fits that red zone, profile there. The one thing that kind of hurts him is he's not on the field all the time, right? 51% of the time there, but he gets a lot of looks his way. Ruggs, 6.4K. He's kind of more of the deep threat here. The priciest of the three receivers, 15.45 target share on the season. So a little bit less than Hunter Renfrow and by far way less than Waller there. So 62.5% of the time he is out there playing those snaps. So we do like to see that. The opportunities are there, right? And then Edwards at 5K. I think this is the receiver that's trending the most up, maybe high risk, high reward kind of guy. 10.57% target share on the season. So definitely lower than those other two. However, I think he's kind of trending up, seeing more time here, 70.5% snaps, 77.5 last week. So he's had some end zone opportunities. He leads wide receivers in routes. So I think I would probably go Edwards here for the savings. I like him a lot. I like Renfrow. Ruggs certainly in play. It just depends on your build here. You certainly can captain one of these guys, but they have to score, right? So I think they're all in play. And then we'll talk about a little bit of this running game here. Jacobs questionable here. He seems to be fine. Jacobs kind of thrives in these situations on the Monday Night Football. And if they're getting close to the goal line, Jacobs is the guy. 10 rushing attempts in week 1. He got hurt, remember? So could see some opportunity inside the red zone. I really, truly believe that. I don't love the price here, but these two teams, obviously they're division rivals, and Jacobs gets his fair share of play for sure. So keep an eye on that if he is playing. Kenyon Drake at 5.4K. I think that's a fine price. I don't love it, right? If I'm making one lineup, it might be hard to get him in, but I think he's very much in play. He's only averaging about 7 rushing attempts per game, so his ceiling is somewhat limited. He really has to score touchdowns. The price is fair, though, when you compare him to some of these other wide receivers that they have. 45% of snaps he played last week. He does have pass catching upside, so that is something to note there. Jacobs more of the running back. Drake kind of that third down back. Definitely can catch balls. We know Derek Carr likes to throw. That's pretty obvious. And then Peyton Barber, 6.8K, tough price tag here, especially if Jacobs is playing. If Jacobs is in, you could potentially just kind of cross him out. Although, a little bit of coach talk, they don't mind throwing Barber in there. Maybe Barber sees some extended run even with Jacobs back because they want to kind of keep Jacobs a little bit fresh. So we'll see. A little bit closer to lock. We'll try to, you try to figure out, you Google search or on Twitter, see what, how they're going to go. If Jacobs is out, he is the clear back. He's the number one guy. Drake's role will still stay the same. He played 53% of the snaps last week. Doesn't really have catching upside, right? So he's just going to be the running back. Definitely only in play probably if Jacobs is out for me because of the price tag. I don't like that they would split times or anything like that. But I think the running game is maybe perhaps where we find some edge in this game. Everyone's going to be really high on these wide receivers and Darren Waller as well on both sides. So maybe the Raiders rushing game could get you a little bit different. It just depends on your builds, right? And then for some GPP dart throws, Zay Jones at 1.8K. I wish he was maybe a 1K or less. 17 routes ran in week 1, and then he ran 2 and then 9. So that's not really what you want to see. 23.75% snaps played last week, 21% on the season. So he's in there. He is getting some run here, but nothing more than just a GPP dart throw. I would stay away in cash for sure. Snead at 200, super cheap, right? You just hope he catches one ball. You know what I mean? And that kind of pays off the price tag there. Rostering those guys for 200 or whatever, 1K really helps you pay up for some of these other players other studs that we want to get in our lineup. So Snead at 200, I don't really love it. He only played 7.5% of the snaps last week. 1 route, 0 targets. So really just praying for 1 catch and maybe 10 yards or something. But he has seen one red zone look on the year, which is very interesting. But yeah, nothing more than just a GPP dart throw at this point. And then let's move on to the home team, the favorites here, the LA Chargers. Herbert, 11.2K. He's the highest priced player, as he should be. He's averaging 42 throws per game, so that's nice to see. Him, like Carr, they like to throw the ball. This game is going to be pretty exciting to watch. Air yards over the last 3 games, 408. Then it went down to 354, and then it went down to 246. I expect that to kind of be consistent throughout the year. I think there's going to be games where he kind of goes off, and then there's going to be games where he's just feeding, Eckler and stuff like that, short gains. Depends how bad they beat up on other teams or vice versa. So 3.33 deep attempts average per game, only 2 last week. So that's something I don't really love to see. He's not really airing the ball out a lot. He is throwing a lot, but he's not really going for that deep bomb. He's 4th in passing yards at 922. Just a solid overall play here. I probably would not captain him because he doesn't really have that much rushing upside. But yeah, very, very much in play here. Herbert looks good. I wouldn't go Herbert and Carr because that kind of limits your lineups there, because you're going to want to jam in some of these other studs. There's nothing wrong with fading one quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I mean, just because you fade a quarterback doesn't mean that, the wide receiver can't go off on that team. So keep that in mind. But let's talk a little bit about this receiving core here. Williams at 10.2K. That is a very, very high price tag here. I think obviously he's going to get some ownership. It's him and Allen. We know where the ball is going to go. 26% target share this season, 22% end zone share this season. Obviously, I think that goes down as the more games we play here, but 5 red zone targets, 76% average of snaps played this year. So he's on the field. He gets a lot of red zone looks because he is a massive guy with some strong hands. 10.2K, that's a tough price tag, but he is very much in play. He would be a strong captain too. Allen, 8.8K. I expect a lot more ownership to go his way. Allen, probably the more safer option, right? He's generally on the field more. Williams has gotten hurt at times. But these are the 2 main guys that the ball is going to be going to from Justin Herbert. 27.3% target share this season, 36% last week. So that is a big jump right there. So obviously he has a massive ceiling here. 9% end zone share. I wouldn't really look into that too much, but he is getting looks. Obviously 89% average snaps this season. So he's playing a lot more snaps than Williams. He's on the field a lot more. He's just more consistent. Both definitely in play. Allen, a very strong captain option. I think he gets a lot of ownership there as well. And then we got to talk about Guyton a little bit here. 2.4K. I think the price is great. If he was at like 4K, I would consider maybe just fading him. Not a crazy, Guyton to me would be more of a GPP play. Sorry, I just had a brain fart there, but 6% target share this season. He is the deep threat, right? But remember, Justin Herbert doesn't really throw that many deep balls. Doesn't mean he doesn't. I think Guyton's still very much in play in GPPs, 9% end zone share there. So that's encouraging. He's clearly their 3rd wide receiver here. He's going to see some time on the field. He's averaging about 65% snap share this season. So I am a little bit higher on Guyton than maybe some other places would be. You're just hoping some of the targets goes his way. If you have Guyton on your team and something happens to Williams, God forbid, that's going to, push you up in your contest. So I'm not saying he's a must play by any means, but I primarily play GBPs, and I think the price is really, really reasonable. He always has that deep threat upside there. So it's clearly Mike Williams and Allen, but Guyton, I think, is in the picture a little bit because you got to save some salary here, right? And then you got Cook there starting at tight end, 4.4K. See, this is what I'm talking about with salary with between Guyton and Cook. Cook is the guy that is priced at over 4K, 13.45% target share this season. That is not great. 4.5% end zone share. So he is seeing some looks in the end zone or red zone. 61% average snaps this year, 31 routes ran last week, but only 3 targets. So he's not getting a ton of look. When you compare Guyton to to Cook here. What I really like to see is that, both guys are on the field. They're decent punt options here. I'd probably go lean with the upside in Guyton. However, maybe Cook gets a little bit more look in the red zone, but clearly they're just the third and fourth option leftovers compared to Allen and Williams there. So, and then we got to talk about Eckler here, 9.6K, 11.67 rushing attempts per game. So that they clearly just like to throw the ball, right? 12% target share, 0 in week 1. So that really kind of messed up the average, but 9 and then 6 targets his last 2 games. So we all know he's an elite pass catching running back. 68% of the snaps he has played this year, 78% last week. So that's encouraging. He's seeing a little bit more run too. There's times where Eckler can go down with an injury, so you have to keep that in mind, but he is nothing more than elite, right? Raiders rushing D isn't anything special, so the upside is there. Plus Eckler has that massive pass catching ability. And then as far as like GPP punts go, I'm not really interested too much on this side, on the Chargers side. Jackson at 200. He might get, 1 to 4 rushing attempts, right? Probably won't see too much outside of, those couple tries there. So I'm not really high on him. They're really just going to go Eckler if they're going to run the ball for the most part. But yeah, I think Jackson, if you're building a ton of lineups at 200, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? He gets you 0, but it allows you to pay up for, all these other guys that we just talked about. So that's a little bit of a strategy there. And then as far as like defenses go, I think this is a high total here. Weather's not really an issue. I just think they're going to go out there and sling the ball. And I think the Raiders are going to run a little bit. So I'm just not interested in the defense. Both quarterbacks are far better than, they're not going to be throwing pick sixes. So no interest in defense. As far as kickers go, if they fit your build, I think it's fine. I would only go one. I wouldn't captain them at all. So one of them's in play for sure. It all depends on your game script and how you want to build your teams. If you think the Raiders are going to go out there and win, or you think the Raiders are not going to score as many touchdowns tonight and are just going to be kicking field goals, then you pick the Raiders kicker, and then vice versa on the other side. If you think the Chargers are going to just run it up, they're going to kick field goals, that you probably want to roster the kicker that you think is going to be on the winning team. So that'll do it. I hope this video helped you. It's certainly helping me kind of decide where I want to go with my build. So I'm going to go and try to, mess around and see what I can come up with. But best of luck to you tonight. Thank you for watching this first edition of a Showdown NFL slate. So there will be plenty more, I promise you. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the channel. Helps me out a ton. Best of luck to you tonight. Peace.